if I go that way or whichever. And then I just love how you mentioned like this online quiz can be like dating.
Yeah.
It's the start of a relationship. That's the thing. And that's from like the user's perspective, but from like a business owner's perspective, it's logical because you know your ads are cheaper, but it's also things like you can do personalized marketing. Like,
This is what we do. This is what we do.
Are online quizzes the ultimate lead generation tool? Our guest today, Helen Munshi, is a quiz strategist expert. And when done right, an online quiz can generate new leads, create loyal customers, and help your small business stand out. So today we're going to show you how to inject energy into your business marketing with an online quiz. Welcome to the 15-ish minute coffee chat live streaming podcast with Anna and Selena. That's 11 seasons of helping entrepreneurs and small business owners build more profitable businesses.
Can you believe it? Can you believe we're in season 11? Like,
I know. It's crazy, isn't it?
Yes, it is crazy. I'm really excited.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for today because first of all, ask your call to action question so I can answer it because that's what I want. Like, I just want to.
All right. I just want to know, everybody that's listening right now, or even if you're catching the replay, I want you to drop it in the comments. But have you ever taken an online quiz? If the answer is no, I'm going to call BS on that because I guarantee you at some point in your life, you've done that, like, you know, which Disney princess would I be? Or what kind of dog should I have? Or, you know what I'm saying? Like these things that are supposed to provide you more depth and knowledge about yourself and your wants and your desires and who you are and all that kind of stuff. Right?
No, absolutely. I mean, I'm just going to because I'm so excited. Like I took a quiz and I got these little lip stain thingy off of the TikTok shop, right? And there's 6 beautiful colors. And I was like, what am I feeling? And this is stuff like this, right? I went with this color today. But this is things that can help you with your marketing. It's okay, you're going to pick a stream of questions to find out what color you're feeling and what vibe you're going to get.
Yes. Yeah. And sometimes I feel like, well, I mean, we're going to have this conversation with our expert guests, right? But sometimes I feel like an online quiz or those quizzes or those questions that they ask can just recenter you back to where you need to be. Mm-hmm. Now, this is as a quiz taker. And this is why I think people get so excited when they see a quiz opportunity is because they're like, ooh, let's find out what my answer is, first of all. But also second, it really is a great way to share your expertise as a business owner. So,
so for sure.
We need to probably just do the bio and get showing up here so we can stop talking about what she's going to be talking about.
Yes. Right? Okay. All right. Let me tell you a little bit about Helen Munshi. She is a quiz marketing strategist of Helen Munshi HQ. You're great at what you do. Now it's time to tell the world so you can truly scale your business. She helps entrepreneurs generate consistent, high quality leads using the magic of online quizzes. Helen is an online business growth strategy and trained quiz funnel expert and has supported entrepreneurs like Holly Marie Haynes to build engaged communities ready to buy, whose freebie now converts at 80% and a 70% email open rate. Oh my gosh, guys, that's good. That's really good.
That's really good.
She has been supporting entrepreneurs for over 15 years and also runs a property business. She runs the Quiz Academy, a DIY program to build your quiz funnels and full bells and whistles done for your quiz funnels. She's also a country music loving Brit. Hello.
Very refined, very rich.
Yes.
She's unicorn Brit here.
Yes. Usually found with a messy ginger bun, eating anything spicy and playing korfball, which I need to look it up because apparently she just said it is a real sport. So now I'm going to ask. So let's bring this wonderful guest up so we can just start the chat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Hi, Helen.
Hi, Selena. Hi, Anna.
Welcome.
How are
Okay.
you?
First of all, wait, I did not know. I didn't want to guess, but I was like, oh, my husband is from England. We were just there in March. We were at Burnham on Sea, Burnham by Sea, or Burnham on. Yep, went to Stonehenge. Then we were in London. Then I saw so many old things that I was just, but I did not hear about korfball, or how do you say that?
Korfball is actually Dutch, so you probably wouldn't have heard about it over here.
Okay.
So it's a mixed sex sport. It's how I met my husband actually as well. So it's big part of our lives.
Is it like what? Like
so it's kind of a mix between basketball and netball, basically.
Oh,
yeah. Okay.
Good, it's fast paced.
I love that.
I'm like, how you get your aggressions out? I just need to know. Inquiring minds.
Yeah, it's a very good way to be competitive.
I love that
nature into something positive.
Yeah, it's competitive and have fun. I totally understand that, right? Constantly looking for that.
Yeah, we're on the same wavelength, Anna.
Yeah. Seems like it.
I'm like, I want to know, like, have you ever done a quiz? Have you ever created a quiz to see what kind of a player you are in korfball?
Oh no! Do you know I haven't. That's a very good idea. I've done like surveys and all this kind of stuff. I've never done like a quick quiz, like what's your perfect sport? Like what team sport should you play next? Kind of thing.
Right.
One of those.
Okay, so I have a quick question. This is totally off the run of show. Like we're going rogue right this very minute.
Yeah,
Helen, I want to know what's the first quiz you ever took that's memorable to you. Yeah. The one that made you go like, "This is cool."
Yeah. Do you know? So I did like the kind of classic Cosmo ones when I was younger. You know, all those kind of ones. But I think the main one that got me into quizzes for businesses was I went to visit my. I got loads of nieces and nephews. I went to visit my twin nieces, and we both love Harry Potter, like me and my little niece Eva, and we like good, you're on the same thing. And she was so excited. She opened the front door and she was like, oh, you know, I've just done this quiz that tells you what Hogwarts house you should be in. And I was like, oh, okay. So we ran in, we did the quiz, and I went through all the questions, and it was only maybe like 12 questions, and I was so excited to find out the answer, and I was so ready to give. I was like, you cannot take my email address fast enough to tell me what Hogwarts house I'm going to be in, I was Hufflepuff, which was great. She was Gryffindor, and I think she probably done it about 15 times to get to the Gryffindor answer. But anyway, but I was like, this is genius. Like, you know, everyone loves a quiz. I couldn't wait to give them their information. I was telling them all this stuff about myself. And it was like free information as well. It's not, you know, all this cookie data, all this kind of, you know, that kind of stuff. So yeah, I just thought, well, how would this work in a business? So yeah, that kind of kickstarted it all. So that's definitely my most memorable quiz, I'd say.
I love that so much that even though we have not really started officially, guys, if you're listening to this and you are a Harry Potter fan, I just need to know what house you belong to. Yes. Please put in the comments, tag us on Instagram. I don't know, but just make sure to share. I am a Hufflepuff too.
There you go.
I'm a Hufflepuff. We're all Hufflepuffs, which is kind of fun.
Maybe that's like a thing. Maybe like entrepreneurs are Hufflepuffs.
Right?
I don't know. Possible. I just remember the first time I took a Harry Potter quiz, I was like, do not put me in Slytherin. Do not put me
in. So true, isn't it? Maybe there are no Slytherin answers because no one wants to be in Slytherin.
That's hysterical. Okay, wait. Before we get started, because I'm excited. I'm just excited about Harry Potter and that quiz, because you're right. I was like, I could not get through that quiz fast enough because I was so curious. I wanted to know what the Sorting Hat was going to tell me. I wanted to be. But let's take our coffee cup selfie if we can.
Oh, yeah, the coffee cup selfie.
I know. And we got so excited. We just like, you know.
But I just kept going. Like, I was like, what?
On 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, let's do this. We're gonna move some blocks around here, and
we're gonna make Helen the star of the show.
Ooh, yeah.
There she is.
All right. Let's jump in the seat, Anna. Let's start with the first question.
So you kind of already answered the first question, but we're going to dig a little bit deeper because really the first question is, why do online quizzes work? And we just kind of talked about this, right? That anticipation, the excitement of knowing the answer. But in your words, like when you're explaining this to a business owner, what do you tell them?
Yeah, and you kind of touched on a few already in the introduction as well, which is brilliant, because everyone understands a quiz. Like, everyone's done a quiz from someone who takes it, so that means we're already on a really good footing. We already kind of understand the concept of a quiz. But one of the reasons they work really well is it plays into our human nature. Like, as humans, we are like naturally nosy, I guess. Like, we're kind of biologically programmed to want to understand more about ourselves, to grow, to develop. So anything you can do through kind of question and answer to help them is always going to resonate really well and create more of an emotional connection with the person taking the quiz. So that's one reason, they work brilliantly. Another reason I love them is that they're what I call kind of interactive, not static. We nowadays, I mean, I don't even know what the attention span is nowadays. It's pretty mini. It's probably, seconds. And if you've got an ebook or some kind of long form content, like, how many of those have we kind of put our details in, we get the ebook, we never really read them, we file them away if we're good, otherwise they just get kind of junked. But when you're interacting and you're kind of taking them through a series of questions and they're having to actually physically tap a button, answer, you're getting them to engage, and you're taking them through that process and actually giving them the information in a way that they can consume. So you get a much higher completion rate. I think you get usually around about twice as high a completion rate as you do versus like a normal kind of ebook in terms of kind of using the content. So it's positive, it's interactive, it's engaging. It is top content on loads of different websites. New York Times is top content is quizzes because they work. And it's the other way I like to think of them as well is it's about, if you want someone to kind of opt into your email list, that's kind of the ultimate goal for businesses, because it's about being able to market to them and build that relationship with them over the long term, not just kind of through social media and so on, which can be very hit and miss as to the algorithms and stuff. If you're wanting to do that, I always want to start off that relationship from a place of feeling really empowered and not fearful, because quite often you get these opt-ins that are like, sign up here, otherwise, your business and your life are going to implode, or 5 reasons why this terrible thing is going to happen to you if you don't read this thing. And the end result is the same. They're opting in, you're getting their email address, you're starting to build a relationship. But I would much prefer to do that from a place of them being empowered rather than fearful. So again, quizzes work really nicely in that kind of way. I like to kind of think of it sometimes in terms of dating. Just to give you like a really quick analogy. So, you're on a first date, you're all excited, you get to the restaurant, you've got your date in front of you, and you walk in and you've got just like a piece of paper with a load of information about you on there. And you dump it on the table and you go, nice to meet you. I'll see you in a few days, and I'm going to give you some more facts about myself in a few days. And then you turn away and you walk out, basically. So that's kind of like option 1. And then option 2 is you walk in, you pull out the chair, you sit down, you have a glass of wine, you just start asking them some questions, and it flows and it's interactive and it's natural. And, I would think probably you're going to start a better relationship in that way than you are with kind of the dump and run, as I like to call it.
The dump and run. I love that.
I love that. Like, I've never heard about, like, the quizzes I love, and I sometimes have a hard time of trying to figure out how to make it work. But just what you said, it's like you're creating an investment in you by like having them like say what they are, right? Like, you're 4 types of people that would love this book because and then now I'm thinking that's who I am as I read through your ebook, because I'm so curious if I go that way or whichever. And then I just love how you mentioned like this online quiz can be like dating.
Yeah.
It's the start of a relationship. That's the thing. And that's from like the user's perspective, but from like a business owner's perspective, it's logical because your ads are cheaper, but it's also things like you can do personalized marketing. Like Netflix is a classic example. They are personalized marketing. You've just watched this program. Here are 5 more programs that I think you're going to want to watch based on that. And it's marketing to you as an individual. And if you get information that people are really willing to give you through a quiz, you can then go, okay, you know what? That information I've got, or that thing I'm marketing, which is aimed at like beginner business people, for example, probably not what you need right now. So let me actually tailor my content and talk to you about something that is going to be useful to you. So you're not just shouting into the abyss and saying the same thing to everyone. So it's a logical decision for a business owner as well.
So, okay. So first of all, we always come up with great quotes from our guests that come on, and then we're going to turn them into t-shirts. This might be one of yours, which is that
Okay.
an online quiz is the start of a business relationship, but it's true.
Yeah.
And I mean, when you were talking about like attention span, I was like, yeah, there's that whole thing about, 8 seconds, less than a goldfish, kind of thing where we kind of put that onus on people like, oh, they're never going to stop and read. But the truth is that you have to hook them. And I feel like those online quizzes, that start of that relationship is where they get interested in you. Because if I went on a date with someone and they handed me that, I'd be like, okay, you're a weirdo. Bye-bye. Right.
Yeah.
But if I sat down and we had a great time and chatted, and now I'm curious, I want more. Then if they said at the end of that date, hey, I have this 3-page thing and it's going to tell you a little bit more about me, things that I thought you might find interesting about me that maybe, we have in common. Would you like it? I would say yes. And then I would read it.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
Capacity for the big information. We just have to get hooked and want it. And I think that's what an online quiz does, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah. And we're so inundated nowadays with emails and content, and we're just consume. So actually trying to stand out in a noisy online world and trying to just be heard and to be seen is everything.
Yeah. Okay. So, all right. So here you are, you're a business owner and you're like, oh, there's this, I want to make a quiz. Right. And then you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing here. Do I need a psychological degree to do this? How much research? I have to make sure I'm stating facts correctly. I can't make it too whimsical, or my ideal client's going to really hate this, but they're going to love that. You know what I'm saying? So question 2 really comes down to then, how do you create a quiz that can make an impact? As a business owner, how do you come up with what to do?
Yeah. Big question. It's a bit of an art and it's a bit of a science. It's kind of a mixture, which is why I love them, because it's kind of strategic, but it's also creative as well, which is kind of works for me. A big thing when I start working with clients or through the Quiz Academy is we almost take the quiz off the table to start with, because whatever you create has got to work for you and your business. So we need to look at, what is the overall customer journey through your business? What does it look like? Are there any kind of sticky points? Is there any points where people are going to kind of bounce out? What are you funneling them towards? Because when you're creating a quiz, you're creating a funnel or customer journey. Some people don't like the word funnel. So let's first tip is make sure you know what you're trying to direct them to at the end, because that is going to dictate how you create your results pages, and then also, the topic of your quiz. If we're trying to funnel them towards, 3 different offerings about how to become a dog trainer, but your quiz is talking about, how to set up a vet practice, it doesn't make any sense. You've got to have that kind of flow that kind of comes through. So that would be my first one, is definitely that. The second thing is really around, and again, this is kind of like business 101, is you got to understand your clients. You got to understand, where are they at? What do they need? How are they feeling? They are seeking a solution, or they're seeking something because they're on the internet and they're doing a search, or, they found you on social media. So what is it at that moment that they're actually looking for? And understanding that will help you to know what are the questions, and therefore maybe what are the topics that you want to talk about in your quiz. So that's kind of number 2 is know your audience. The third one is really kind of weird. So you decide on the topic of your quiz, but then you create it backwards, which seems a little counterintuitive. So you create your topic, and then you work out, what are my different segments for my business, and then you create your results pages, then you create your question and answer, and then you create your opt-in copy and your title and stuff. So it's, and again, that makes sure everything flows really nicely. And then there's all kind of arty things around balancing questions and engagement flows, and numbers are there's quite a lot that goes into it, for sure.
And this is where you have to come to somebody like Helen or take Helen's DIY masterclass thing that she does for Quizmaster or something along those lines where you can learn those ins and outs. But I love like your first 3 steps in terms of like having that goal first, right? Because you're right. If I want people to drive people towards one thing, but I'm asking questions about something totally different, it's almost like a bait and switch. You know,
it doesn't work.
They're going to get mad at me. They're going to be like, well, that was lame. And I'm never taking one of your stupid quizzes ever again. Right.
Or buy your product or service. Really, ultimately, it's not even just the quiz. You lose them as a client or a customer, right?
Yeah,
definitely. And you got to, again, you want them to feel like you're asking deep enough questions to actually be able to give them an accurate result.
Yeah.
But then you also don't want to go so deep that they get really put off and don't finish the quiz as well. So it's kind of, again, a bit of a balance of sort of how much information you try and get from them.
This reminds me very similarly of like when Anna was just starting out. And I remember your first email sequence, Anna, you wrote, and we helped select 3 avatars. Are you Britney Spears? Are you Bruce Springsteen? Or are you, I can't remember who the third, but it, you know, everybody could associate the personality similarly to who they might be. And it was,
I should have just done a quiz though, not
like that was so much easier.
Yeah, 10 series email campaign was really hard to do. I would have preferred to have that in quiz form.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the wonders of hindsight, you know, it's obvious now, but yeah.
Right. And you just did the long form. You did a long form quiz, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I do find it fascinating, like when you were talking about the quiz thing. So going from the end forward, like, is that so that you're not like manipulating things to fit an end product, whereas opposed to you've got your end product and then you're building that direction? Because I can see how the other way around, you ask the questions, you're like, oh, wait, how am I going to force this now into this direction I want it to be?
Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. It gets very kind of staged if you write the questions and then you sort of end up with these 4 results, but they don't quite fit what you want them to say. So then you're trying to squeeze everything in. So yeah, it's exactly that.
Anna, it makes me think, you know, so Helen, we come from military, we're military spouses, and our spouses, they always have to plan and work backwards. Like that's how they do things, right?
We plan everything at our house.
Yes. Right. Or
we be home by this date or at this time.
Right.
So that means we leave it here. That means we have to be eating by this time. That means we need to get dressed at here. My daughter needs 17 hours to get ready. So blah, blah, blah. You know.
But we do it. I think we do it naturally in our businesses anyway, right? We look at what is the long-term goal, like where are we trying to get to, and then let's work it back into like, you know, quarters or, you know, however you do it. But it's I think we always do that. Otherwise, you can end up slightly aimless, I guess.
Yeah. Right. Because you're trying to force something to here, but really everything you're creating kind of doesn't put your path that way, right? It's like, oh, whoops, I'm heading over to Montana instead of going up to New York. Like, I don't know. Like, you know, it's like, I don't know. And you know what's funny is I love reverse engineering things. So you would think online quizzes would be something I would get into. I mean, amongst many
I'm
other
totally
things.
Intrigued. Like, I want to try and come up with one. This is going to be a 2024 Q1 goal for me.
Right.
Because you know, there's this one project I am working on, and I think a quiz would fit really well in it. As part of the intake process.
Yeah, I was going to say you can use it. We talk a lot about opt-ins because it's sort of the natural first point, but you can use it, you know, when someone joins a membership or a course to help personalize their journey through like the learning, for example. That works really nicely. And then it helps with retention, and it also helps to create a much better experience for the student as well. So a lot of people use them in that kind of scenario. Or, you know, when you're trying to understand more about a potential client, or even when you've made a sale and you want to kind of onboard them and you want to do that in a fun but supportive way, you can create quizzes for that kind of thing as well. It gets slightly addictive, like you create one and then you're like, oh, I just create another one and another one. Yeah.
No, and I could see like just how an online quiz, so say you do creates a community within a community, right? Like, so I've joined Helen, she's like community, and she has us take a quiz, and now we're in houses, but now we're a community within her community, right? We're like, yeah, did you get this one? I am too. What do you want?
And we all want to belong. That's that's like human psychology, isn't it? We always want to belong to something.
Right. We want to know where we are placed.
I mean, when you started off with that, right? I mean, like, we're all innately nosy. We want to know, if not more about other people, about ourselves too. Like, and also there's a feeling of like, does she really get me? Right. So when you take a quiz and it gets right and you're like, oh yeah, that's totally how I see myself, right?
Like, how are you in my head? Like, that kind of feeling is what you want to create.
And that creates, okay, we're digging into the psychology of it a little bit, but that creates a level of trust that built almost automatically. Like, oh, you totally understand me, my persona, my personality in this area. So now anything you have to say about it, I'm likely to believe, or at least put a lot of faith in at that very initial stage, because you got it right from the start.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely.
Can I ask another rogue question that's not on our form?
Yeah, go for it.
What is your average time with an average client that doesn't have a lot of to create a quiz? Like, how much time do you need to block out to kind of make an effective quiz for your?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm creating it for people, I usually say kind of 4 weeks, because I work with a copywriter for some of the work as well. So it's usually 4 weeks. I've started doing an express version where we do it in 2. And that's obviously, just making sure we give it enough space. Sometimes you need ideas to breathe a little bit. Like, you can come up with all the ideas and then you can create the questions and you can go through the whole process really quickly, but you also need a bit of time to kind of sit. Is it the right thing? Is it going to resonate with my audience? So I've done that. And then in terms of the kind of do it yourself, like, I've created pathways. So you can get it done on a weekend, you can get it done in 30 days. I'm just actually about to create, I've got it on my whiteboard here. I'm going to start integrating AI prompts as well into the Quiz Academy. So that it'll just help speed up the process, but also just help with that creative. Sometimes it can feel a bit like I've got a blank piece of paper or blank screen and it's hard sometimes to come up with it. But if you can put in some prompts and you can train it with your brand voice and just get some ideas to then prompt your own creation, that I think will speed up the process of people as well.
I love that, because I use who all the time, because sometimes I do feel stuck and it just helps create a framework for me, and then it kind of jumpstarts that creative juice
and I think as business owners as well, because we do so much individually in silos, it's almost the kind of conversations or the stuff you get back is almost how you would, if you were sitting in an office in a meeting room with 5 of your work colleagues bouncing ideas around. That's kind of what you get from He Who Shall Not Be Named process, that kind of program,
right?
Because it just kind of it just sparks creativity, I think, if you use it right.
Okay, so I have one last rogue question before we have to move into our toolkit, but I know that people are going to want to know, what is the tech platform that you're using to offer quizzes? Like, how do you make it calculate out and give them the results that they want? Are there specific ones you prefer, Helen, that you would recommend?
Yeah, I mean, there are a few options out there for sure, and I think tech can sometimes put people off creating the quiz. So I just want to reassure people that it's easy. There's programs out there. The one that I use is called Interact, because it's got all the functionality you need. It's got some nice marketing elements, integration for ads, but it's also not outrageously expensive, which some of them can be. So there is a monthly cost, but it's not unreasonable at all.
I mean, if it's a good quiz, it's going to pay for itself, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've got a client and she's on, I think she told me 30 cents a lead in Facebook ads to her quiz, which is just,
that's cool.
That's breathtaking, really good, because they do, because people interact with your ads a lot more when it's a quiz. So you then get bumped up the ranks, and, I won't pretend to know how the algorithm works for ads, but it's, it does good things. So.
But I think the whole point is that you don't have to come up with that process. Like, the platform that you use, that tech platform, is going to do that calculating for you, as long as you're putting in the parameters, have thought through your goal, the direction you want them to go, and then come up with questions that then would lead to where you would send it. So I love that. It makes it feel doable to me.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. It really is. And I want to demystify the fact that I could sit here and say it's super crazy complicated and like it's going to take you 6 months and you have to use an expert, but I don't want to do that. I want people to enjoy the process. I want people to create quizzes that they love. And ultimately, it's about making sure you get enough eyes on your business, because I see so many people, I mean, I've worked in business for 15 plus years now, who they give up. They're amazing at what they do and they give up on it, and they go back to a job, or they decide that they're no good at what they do because they just don't have enough eyes on their business. And it's nothing to do with their skills or who they are. It's a maths thing. And I want to help take away that element for them and to get them enough leads.
So this is so good. Are you people listening to this right now? This is a lead. I mean, it's lead generation. What you just said about the 30 cents for on Facebook, like that's amazing numbers. Like there really is huge potential. And honestly, absolutely. There's not a single industry that could not create. There's no industry where you couldn't have a quiz of some kind.
Yeah. So true. Yeah, so true.
I mean, Helen is going to leave this and actually do a quiz for what kind of a korfball player you are. Like,
yeah, exactly. You can use it in sport. I've done it with finance guys. I've seen ones for kind of funeral homes. I've seen them for makeup brands, e-commerce, like everything, like pretty much everything.
Now I did go funeral home in my head for just a few minutes trying to come up with an industry where a quiz might not be appropriate. But then I was like, no, because if I knew I was dying, I would be like, what kind of casket should I use? Right. Like,
yeah. Or like, how do I,
yeah,
what kind of funeral should I plan? Or and there's ways, obviously, you change your tone and you change the the voice of it and so on, depending on who you're talking to. But yeah, I mean, it's a good way to
down to knowing your client, knowing your ideal client, and understanding how to speak to them. And yeah, I love this, Helen. Fantastic information.
I'm excited. I don't know. I kind of want to leave this episode. I want to go create something. I don't know what it's all about, but I'm
telling you right now, Helen, Selena, and Anna are going to make an Anna and Selena quiz for our webpage. I don't know exactly what
that's where you want to go.
Okay. I'm not quite sure what our focus will be yet, but we will tag you on it. We will make sure you know that it's out there. Yeah. And then you can laugh and be like, they got it all.
No, not at all.
Right.
Send it over. I'm sure it'll be brilliant.
A for effort, ladies. A for effort.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, let's bring up the toolkit.
Yeah, because I love the toolkit.
I mean, I could continuously keep asking questions, but Helen she's got to go to bed, guys. Like she's not here with us in Texas. So, okay, Helen, tell everybody about this fabulous toolkit they need to have, like today.
Yeah. So I've created a free training because I know loads of people are quite new to quizzes. So I wanted to create a training that kind of answered a lot of those questions about, why I want this. How does it work compared to other freebies? What's it going to bring to my business? So I put all of that into my free training, which is at freequizmasterclass.com. And we're looking at really busting some of those kind of top myths about quizzes and looking at how you can genuinely build an engaged email list. So we're talking quantity, but also quality. Like we don't want to just stuff it full of people who are going to ghost you afterwards. We want to have people who are excited to hear from you. They're opening your emails, they're clicking the links and doing the action you actually want them to do. So we go over kind of all of that and how a quiz can support you with that in the free masterclass.
That's awesome.
I'm like legit just in my mind, I'm thinking of all my clients. I'm like, oh my gosh, what kind of would I do for their restaurant? Like it would just be fun. It's just fun.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. It injects a little bit of fun into your business too. Yeah. And we're the big buzzwords are authenticity and, connecting and relationships and building community for businesses these days. Right. And this is a great way to do that. So I just want to point out the scroll that's going across the bottom. And if you're listening to the podcast, it's going to be in the show notes and all of that good stuff. But AnnaandSelena.com/blog. We do a blog post on every single guest we have that's going to have all of their information, links to all the places, including a link to this free quizmasterclass.com so that you can just go to one place and find all of the things that you want.
I have her screen. I'm ready. I've got my login. I'm ready to learn. You might get some wild DMs like while you're sleeping, Helen, but like, oh my gosh, and
totally fine. And if you're just like, how would this work, or what can I do it about? Just DM me. I'm always like, I love chatting to people. So yeah,
I love it. Okay,
and Helen, I was going to say your Instagram page too, but we're going to show the contact. So I'm going to just zip my mouth for a minute.
Since you do, tell everybody where you like want them to come find you first. Like, where are you?
Probably. I'd say probably Instagram. So after the free masterclass website, Instagram is probably my other one that I'm most active on. Yeah.
And her Instagram page is good. Like, I'm following her now. It's interesting. There's lots of good stuff on there. So go follow Helen on all the places. I see you're on LinkedIn and there's a Facebook. So yeah, go connect with her. And if you choose to do a quiz, or if you have a favorite quiz, like tag her in it, like in your story or something.
Yeah, I love to see them.
Yeah.
Us too. Tag us too. Wait, not just Helen. Tag us too. Me too.
We don't want to be left out. We don't want to be left out. I know. That's funny. Okay. Well, Anna, Helen, this is the end of the show.
I know.
I loved it. I love it. It's like sitting with teammates having a chat.
Right? And Helen did ask us, she's like, so this is like a 15-minute kind of a show, because our name of our show is 15-ish minute. We're like, well, it's more like 30. That's the goal.
It's happening in their name. Like it's that ish part of it.
Right. Yeah.
But we hope we got a lot out of today.
I know that.
Yeah.
So, okay. Helen, thank you again for coming on, sharing your expertise, having some coffee with us, or water, being how late it is for you over there.
I'm not mad to have coffee.
But okay, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna play a little background music first before we say goodbye. Anna's laughing because I've been my dance
does this all the time, and it's like the show's over and then the music starts.
Right.
So we're just starting the music first, and it's like our exit music. So you can do the Queen's wave as you go, Helen.
Oh, nice. I feel like I'm being like
so
off.
Wait,
out.
bye.